Next is Lord of Chaos. Now, this is another beefy, beefy fucking book. And this is, again, um, this is part of the beginning of a sub arc that a lot of the community is not a fan of. Usually called the slog. Um, I'm not going to call it a bottleneck, but things do slow down quite a bit. Basically, this is kind of the beginning of this period. Like I said, I don't think it's bad. It's just you can tell that he was trying to kind of age up the content. You get a little bit less of that charming youth, right? Because at this point, Rand starts going through kind of a transformation, right? He's the Dragon Reborn. He's starting now to feel the weight of the world on his shoulders, almost literally. And it starts to show in his character. Now, mind you, there's still a lot more books left, so you can puberty. Honestly, yes. This is where a lot of our main cast, they're not kids anymore. They're thrown into the world in the first couple of books, they're grinded up and spat out, and now they're here. And they have no choice but to confront this new world that they're in. And but it doesn't feel sudden, right? It doesn't feel like, oh, they were kids literally last book, what the fuck? Because it does, he has eased us into this, right? It doesn't feel like day and night. It just kind of, obviously this book is day and night with the first book. Obviously, it's fucking 6 books in, of course it's going to be day and night, but it's obviously got the same DNA as well. So there's been a gradual kind of arc. But this is where we start getting a little more serious, a little more serious, a little more sinister. The bad guys are making their moves. They're making their plays. So, the general synopsis now, and when I said I was going to start speeding through these books, it's not because I'm going to start not talking about them. It's actually just because less happens in these books. We got a little more bottlenecky, just a little bit, a little more bottlenecky, a little less is happening, and now we start getting 10 fucking characters perspectives, and hopping around the world a lot more. So it's not just about Rand anymore and his friends from his little village. Now we get perspectives from all the bad guys, perspectives from people who we still don't really know who they are. We get a lot of shit, a lot of different perspectives, and it's really interesting. So what happens in Lord of Chaos? Well, so the general theme of this book specifically is the shadow kind of making its play. So going back to Lord of the Rings mirroring, it's like when the Fellowship splits and starts to do their own shit. Kind of. I would say Shadow Rising is more like that. This is more like the beginning of Return of the King, where they've been apart for some time now, but now it's all their different stories are in full swing. Because Shadow Rising was like Fellowship, where that's where they all start to split, and they're just getting it started in all their own stories. But this is the book where everyone's actually doing their own thing now, and they're going to be separated for an extended period of time now, and we really get their arcs, their individual arcs. So, where shall we start? Let's start with Rand. Rand actually doesn't do too much in this book. He's kind of dealing now with politics, and he hates it. Absolutely fucking hates it. He is now the pseudo king of 2 separate countries, right? Cairhien, over by the mountains, and Caemlyn, which is the capital of Andor, right? Now, Andor. that is where his goif, Elaine, she is supposed to be the queen when her mom dies. Now, her mom, Morghese, is presumed dead. She is not, but I'm not getting into her plotline because it's kind of fucking boring. So basically, and she's like a B plus character. She's not really that important right now. So Elaine is heir to the throne. Also, he loves her, so he's not gonna like sit on the throne because it would be like blasphemy. So he's basically told everyone like, hey, I'm here. I'm like a steward. I'm just protecting you guys until I can find Elaine and put her on the throne. That is all I care about. I don't want to be the king here. It's not my deal. So another part of what's going on, Egwene, because that's first off, that's pretty much all that he does in this book is just dealing with that kind of shit. There's actually other shit that he does. So now we're starting to enter more characters. So remember earlier when I mentioned men who can channel, right? And how they're like destined to go fucking crazy. And basically, if you are living in your town and there's a guy who might be able to channel, you don't just let it slide. Like, that's a big fucking deal. You tell somebody. You tell the sisters at Tar Valon. Fuck, you tell the White Cloaks. You tell anybody because it's kind of a loose cannon. You don't want to really be around him. Well, Rand officially announces an amnesty for any man who can channel. He says, come to Caemlyn and I'll fucking be your mentor. I'll teach you. He basically wants to set up something called the Black Tower to rival the White Tower. Now, some people might be thinking, that sounds kind of, I feel like I've heard of something where like woman white, men black, energies and spirits, the yin yang. And you would be absolutely correct. The yin yang sign actually does make an appearance in this franchise, kind of also solidifying the whole theory that this is our world, and these symbols just get transcended through time. But point is, sidetracked again. So he wants to make the Black Tower, right? Because he wants to have a safe place where men can learn how to channel, and maybe one day they can figure out how to cleanse their half of the true power, and they can figure it the fuck out, right? They can figure it out. So he interacts with somebody called Mazrim Time. Again, I hate these fucking pictures so goddamn much. So that's Mazrim Time. Very brooding, very spoilers. Very brooding, very serious. He is what we call a false dragon. Now, like a year ago in the book, or maybe not even a year ago, maybe like a couple months, he basically tried to claim that he was the Dragon Reborn because he could channel and raise an army and blah, 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 blah. But then got stopped and he escaped somehow. He makes his way to Rand and basically says, hey, you're the real dragon, bro, and I want to serve you. Now, look, I don't know, bro. That sounds kind of sus to me. But, whatever. Now, Rand, I'm going to, small spoilers here. Rand is already starting to hear voices in his head. He's kind of losing his grip on reality. Now, this voice he hears in his head is actually the voice of Lews Therin Telamon, the dragon from 3,000 years ago, aka literally himself from 3,000 years ago. It's kind of a wacky thing going on. And the second Mazrim Time shows up, the voice in his head is like begging him to kill Mazrim Time. Kind of crazy, and he almost fucking does it. It's kind of crazy. Water. But so yeah, basically he takes him under his wing and says, all right, man, you're gonna be in charge of the Black Tower when I'm not around because I got a lot of shit I gotta do. And so they kind of set up this little farm outside of the city, and it's Mazrim Time's job to kind of whip them all into shape. We will touch on that later. So, now, the White Tower. What's going on with them? Well, as I said, in the end of the last book, they split, and it was like a huge crisis. So, they all, the rebel faction, right, that ran away to a town of called Salidar, kind of like an abandoned village down in Amadisia. They they need a new Amerlin, right? They need a new leader to kind of unite them, and they're all bickering among themselves, and they think, well, what if we get somebody young and impressionable, and we can kind of just guide them from the shadows, right? So they pick Egwene Alvear, right? Our best girl from the village of Emmons Field. So they get Egwene to come back. Now, I'm not going to go into how that happens because it's a wacky dream world adventure for her getting back, and it's really crazy. Really cool, though. Really fun stuff. So he goes back. Also, because it is relevant, Egwene has been training with the Wise Ones this entire time, the last 2 books, on how to walk in the dream world and how to kind of see the future and that kind of thing. Very cool stuff. And she has earned the respect of the Wise Ones. This will be important later, but right now it is not. So she goes back to the... well, not back to the White Tower. She goes to find the rebels, and she doesn't know what's the point because, mind you, at this point, she's not actually even an Aes Sedai. She's just an accepted, like the 2nd level, right? So she never actually went through the trials or anything. And they say, hey, we're going to raise you to Amerlin. And that'll just by default make you an Aes Sedai. Also, Elaine and... what's her fucking name? Why did I just forget her name? Oops. Why did I just forget her name? Elaine and Nynaeve. I don't know why the fuck I couldn't remember that. Elaine and Nynaeve have now made their way there also. So that's a thing too. So they go there and basically they make her Amerlin, and it's kind of a shock thing where they're like, oh my god, like, or she's like, oh my god, like I was just an accepted. This is nuts. So they kind of set her up, and like I said, the intent is for her to be like this puppet leader, but it doesn't really work because we now know a lot about Egwene and her character. So Egwene is very headstrong. She's not about to just let some old hags fucking bully her around. So a lot of this book is just like political bickering shit with these magical women trying to figure out what the fuck they're gonna do and boss around this girl. Kind of fucking annoying, but trust me, this part of the book series gets worse. So, on the other side, Matt is now leading what is called the Band of the Red Hand, which basically, at the end of the last battle in Cairhien, a bunch of guys saw what he did and were like, yo, we need to follow this guy. This dude is the real fucking deal. So he's kind of running around doing the bidding of Rand, putting pressure on a character named Samael, one of the Forsaken, who has taken over the kingdom of Ilion. Not currently important. That's a next book thing. So he goes to Matt and says, hey, I need you to do me a favor, big dog. I'm going to take you to Salidar, where the Aes Sedai are. I need you to convince Egwene and Nynaeve and Elaine to go back to Caemlyn, because I need Elaine to take the fucking throne, because I am so fucking tired of dealing with this shit, and I hate politics. And you know what? It's her fucking job. Her mom's dead, I think. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know where she is. The point is, everyone thinks that her mom's dead, so she has to go take the goddamn throne. I'm tired of this shit. So Matt says, sure, I guess. I mean, why me? And he's like, well, because you're my fucking guy, bro. I trust you. I trust you, dude. Like, you're the guy. So he does his little portal fast travel shit, and basically Matt goes into this little village where all these wizardy women are, and it's a pretty good scene, so I'm not going to spoil it. But basically, he doesn't actually give a shit about all this magic politic bullshit. So he's kind of just like, yeah, so you girls are coming with me. And they all almost in unison are like, no, fuck you. We're not doing shit. Even if it's just because you told us, we're not going to do that. So because now he realizes, okay, well, they're not going to come with me, but I can't just leave them here. So he kind of gets roped into another adventure with them. And I haven't brought this up until now because now is when it really started to become important. The weather is starting to heat up. It's now really hot every day. And it's supposed to be winter right now, but it's not. It's still summer. So basically, in a roundabout way, Nynaeve and Elaine have entered the dream world, and they believe that they have found the key to fixing the weather. It's called the Bowl of the Winds, and it's, they think, down in the city of Ebudar. But is winter coming? Well, book number 10 is actually called Winter's Heart, so you tell me. But yeah, so basically, they think they know where to find this artifact. So basically, they convince Egwene to send them to Ebudar to retrieve this. And Matt basically gets roped into going with them because he's like, well, I got to keep Elaine's. If I let anything happen to Elaine, well, Rand will be pissed. And, well, if I can't drag her back, well, then fuck, I guess I got to go with her to keep her safe. So that's what he does. And they go down to Ebudar. Now, so, we, that's kind of... Navi, that was a weird thing to say. Navi, that was a weird thing to say. Okay. Matt gets kind of dragged into this little adventure down south, and this is the setup of an arc that takes quite a while. Ooh, sorry. After that, let's see what else happens in this fucking book. We finally get to see Perrin again. Now, in the last book, over the course of the events of the Fires of Heaven, when we did not get to see Perrin, he has basically been established as the Lord of the Two Rivers, a pseudo-rebel faction within the Kingdom of Andor. Now, he has no intentions of being an independent nation. He just wants to protect his people, and at the time, the Andoran crown was busy. So, that's kind of where he's at. Now, he also has done a lot of growing up. Now, he, at the beginning of this book, they're still in the Two Rivers, but he gets this Taviran tug on his soul, where he just knows. He knows Rand needs him. He knows Rand needs his help. So he ended one of his arcs in book 4, and this is like the beginning of another one. It's very strange. So he goes, and they make it to Caemlyn, and then they make it to Cairhien. We're going to put a tab in that. So basically, at the White Tower, we've got Elida. Elida is the new Amarlin Seat. She is the one that deposed Siuan Sanche. Also, Siuan Sanche, I should mention, she was stilled. Now, stilled is a word for when you take a sister who can channel and you basically rip the ability out of them. It's pretty fucking horrible. And women who can channel who then suddenly can't channel, that's basically a fucking death sentence for them. more often than not, because losing that, it's like being able to feel God and then suddenly not being able to feel God for the rest of your life, but still having the memory of back when you could. Pretty hard, pretty tough on him. But Swan basically, because she's a tough bitch, she basically says, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay around. I'm gonna join the rebels, and I'm eventually gonna get revenge. I'm gonna figure some shit out." Now, kind of important point, Nynaeve actually does figure out how to heal this condition, which she does towards the middle of this book before going to Abu Dar. And she does manage to heal Swan, but it's only like a little bit. Like she can barely channel like a trickle, but it is better than nothing. So, that being said, we in the White Tower, the Armelin Seat basically sends out a group of sisters, all of which are mostly red, but basically they're gonna go to Cairhien, and their whole plan is, yeah, we're gonna go talk to Rand, and then we're gonna kidnap him and take him back to the tower. Now, I don't know what their plan is. Nobody really knows what their real plan is, but that's kind of what they're trying to do. So, they get there, and Rand gets thrown into a box, like a literal box. They trap him there. Now, I should also mention that Min, that girl who can see people's fortunes, she's also there now, and she's kind of doing the she's not old enough to be a cougar, but she's very not in her element. She knows that she loves him, but doesn't really know how he feels about her. But all she knows is that she saw the fortune that she was going to fall in love with him. So she's kind of just trying to manifest that, and it's actually kind of cute. But she doesn't really know how to do this, because she's used to just kind of like, meeting a dude at a bar or having fun with a. I wasn't really expecting honestly, it's kind of fun. Now at this point, Avienda is not with them. Avienda also got dropped off with Matt. Oh, hi, Jules. Book yaps. I know. I'm fucking yapping. I still got a lot of yapping to do, too. It's crazy. My fucking throat already hurts, but it's all right. I got water. I got the H2O. But, yeah, so basically, Avienda is going down to Abu Dar also, because that's just what she's doing. Kind of like a Rand does the, oh, well, I want to protect you, so get the fuck out of here, because I love you, but I'm not going to say that, of course, kind of a weird situation. So we get, now Min is there, and Rand is, we finally get Rand still has a little bit of humanity here, right, where he doesn't really understand that Min is making passes on him, because he's kind of a dipshit sometimes, right, where he's like, oh, Min, why would you say that about my ass? Why would you say that it's perfectly sculpted, you fucking weirdo? You're like my sister. And it's like this really weird, in like a funny way, like goofy little, to be young. Yeah, it's really funny. It's kind of cute. So, because like I said, she's out of her element. Everyone's kind of out of their element there, so it's kind of funny. So, he gets thrown in a box, like literally, right? They kidnap him, and now a lot of the cast is there in Cairhien, but they don't realize that Rand is gone, because he is prone to going on little disappearing acts. So nobody really knows what the fuck is going on. And then we get this really cool, like Avengers Assemble situation, where everyone kind of at the same time realizes what the fuck happened, where it's like, hey, Rand has been gone for like a week. what the fuck are we gonna do? And then they realize, oh, those Aes Sedai also left at the same time. This can't just be a fucking coincidence. Meanwhile, Rand is getting like let out of the box once a day to get like his ass beat. So like he's going through a lot of torture right now. Don't worry, it'll have profound effects on his character for the rest of the series. So it's not for nothing. And this book climaxes at the end with the Battle of Dumai's Wells. And it is a absolute chaotic scene. So the group of Aes Sedai that have captured him, they are working with some of the remnants of that Shaido Aiel army that we mentioned in the last book, to capture him and kind of escort him and protect the cargo. Well, Perrin kind of leads the assault force to recapture Rand. And when they finally get there, it's kind of a tough looking fight. So, because mind you, wise ones can also channel, and they don't really have those same restrictions on not harming people. So it kind of just turns into like the first instance of just a magic shit flinging fest where it's like fireballs and lightning bolts and really crazy shit. And then in the peak of the battle, remember those men who can channel that we mentioned earlier in the book, the Black Tower and Mazrim Taim? Yeah, he shows up with all of his best men, and it's the first time we get to see men channeling who kind of know what they're doing. They fucking vaporize like hundreds of fucking people, and it's honestly really scary. It's really fucking scary, and it's really cool. It's a badass fucking scene, and it kind of just cements to the rest of the world that times are changing. Times are fucking changing, bro. Men who can channel are out there, and they are organized, and there are now multiple superpowers in the world that we cannot ignore anymore. Men who can channel are now no longer, street bums to be chased away. They're no longer just random nuisances to be feared and then executed. Like that's not what they're there for anymore. So that's kind of how that goes. And it's again, it's one of those turning points in the series where everything, you can kind of sum up the franchise is pre Dumai's Wells and post Dumai's Wells. It changes everything. Like literally the whole like fundamental nature of the books changes after this book. So that happened. It's really interesting. It's really cool. We also get a weird thing with Perrin. So Perrin finally, after books and books and books of kind of not wanting to be the Wolf King, right? Not really wanting to be these, the King of the Wolves with all these wolf powers. He finally just accepts it, right? He accepts it and he resigns himself to just, fuck, we're gonna need them. And he literally, like, in the dream world, summons all these goddamn wolves to come help them fight in the real world. So, like, it's like wolves, Aiel, a couple Aes Sedai, all fighting against the Shaido. And then, the black... So it's really cool, right? He's got, like, wolves charging into battle with him and shit. It's the first time we get to see that. It's really... And it feels like the conclusion of his arc. Of this arc specifically. But don't worry. He kind of fucks it up later. But we'll talk about that at another time. So, really good Perrin book. Really good Perrin book. I had a good time with it. And then, backtracking a tiny bit, we go to Ebu Dar. So now Elaine, Nynaeve, Aviendha, and now a Matrim Coffin, who does not want to fucking be there, are now dragged into this chaotic city that I can only describe as New Orleans, but fantasy. Like fantasy New Orleans mixed with a little Wild West, because everybody there likes to duel each other. It's really fun. Oh, hey, Chaz, welcome back. Good to see you, my friend. So they go to Ebou Dar and they're trying to find this fucking bowl. And now I can't for the life of me remember if they find it in this book or in the next. I think they find it in this book. There is, again, kind of a slog in this book specifically when they get to Ebou Dar. Because basically it's mostly just Mat walking around and just kind of being bummed that he's fucking there. So it's kind of fucking annoying. And just him being like frustrated that the girls aren't fucking listening to him. So that happens. And it's whatever. It's not terribly important. It's not my favorite arc because he doesn't really have anything to do, and that's kind of the problem I had with it. Is the whole Mat arc of this book is they kind of set it up in the beginning of like, oh yeah, he's like the leader of this fucking he's the leader of this shit. He's gonna go on his adventures as the leader of this like mercenary band, and then it doesn't really do anything. He kind of just shows up and he's like, oh yeah, I don't want to fucking be here, bro. This sucks. And that's it. That's all he fucking does. It's really fucking annoying. So I feel like he deserved more than that. But we'll get to him a little later. Highlights of this book is very obviously Dumai's Wells. Very obviously. That scene's really fucking badass. Low points, the entire Mat arc. Like the entire Mat arc is just so fucking boring. And I know it's really obvious when you're reading it. It's really obviously planting seeds for the next book for him. But there's just a certain point where you're like, fuck, man, just do something. Anything. Can you just do anything, please? For God's sakes. So, that's kind of a big drawback. But, with that being said, I am going to put Lord of Chaos... I'm going to put it in the good. Now, remembering what I remember from the community, this is my probably biggest hot take of the franchise. I just feel like he utilized Mat incorrectly. Remember is not a real word anyway. I know, I've said remember too many times. But yeah, so it's kind of a hot take in the community about this book. Everyone puts this towards the top, and I see what they're talking about. I really do see what they're talking about. And it's not a bad book. It really isn't a bad book. But there's just like half of it that I really struggle to care about. I really don't care about the whole Mat arc. Really, any of the shit happening in Ebou Dar to fix the weather. It's Also, we interact a lot more with the sea folk, who we've seen a couple times in the series, but this is where we really see a lot of them. The sea folk are from an island called Tremalking, like a couple hundred leagues off the coast. These are the people who basically never step foot on land if they don't have to. They live on their ships, always. This is what I was talking about a lot when I was talking about the show, about diversity and all that kind of thing. This group of people are almost exclusively like charcoal black from living their entire lives on the fucking ocean, on the high seas, getting blasted by the sun. I love these people. very much. They're so fun and they're very interesting. He does a decent job of kind of making them more important in this book, because the Bowl of the Winds. Now, small sidebar again about the sea folk. The sea folk have women that can channel, but they refuse to send them to the White Tower. These women who can channel, they're called wind finders. They channel the wind to make their sails, full of wind, so that their boats can travel fast as fuck. That's kind of the gimmick with that. Sorry, I gotta drink again. Oh, that's good. That's good water. Okay, so that's pretty much how that goes. They claim ownership basically of the Bowl of the Winds. They don't really want to let anyone else use it, so that kind of causes some problems with the sea folk and the Aes Sedai that are there. Like they're really just button heads constantly over this fucking thing. So there's kind of some more politicking. Now he doesn't really go too hard with it, but I do like that they're finally having a bigger role in the books, so it is kind of fun. But eventually, trust me, eventually you will get sick of them. They're really fun when they're on their ships, but then the second they're off their ships, they're kind of fucking annoying. The gimmick dies really quickly, where the joke is like, yeah, they live their whole life on ships, so they're just really weird when they're on the shore. But they're all really bossy and really fun. The sea folk are a lot less diverse. Most of the sea folk are just like hard-nosed traders who are just always trying to bargain and shit, and they're always trying to upend everything the Aes Sedai are doing and trying to control the situation. Some of them are good characters, but when there's a group of like 5 of them on screen or on the page, I'm like, oh fuck, I already know how this is gonna go. So that's how that's the deal with that. So that's kind of why I put that down there, right? So just mostly that Ebu Dar arc, I just didn't fuck with it. I just did not fuck with it. I got so tired of dealing with it.